It can be very hard to depict what is balanced. Let's take a look at the draft phasing, for example. There are team comps that are considered to be better than others, or specific heroes such as outmatch other heroes. And honestly, even if you win the draft phase, theoretically, that does not mean you won the game. At the end of the day, it all comes down to the player's individual skill level. If you're playing a really broken hero where you don't know how to play them, or you just have little to no game sense, then I'm sorry, but those broken heroes are not for you. At the very least, you should practice and try to understand basic concepts. But this was an issue until they released heroes like Lucas and Kalia. I won't be including Suyu as much because, yeah, theoretically he's very broken, but they actually nerfed him to the point where he's actually manageable. Let's take a look at Lucas and Kalia, for example. I just want to give a slight disclaimer as I go through the course of this video. I'm going to try my best to keep things as respectful as possible and also cohesive, while thinking of the enemies and the individual who plays that character. Let's start with what in my opinion is the only balanced thing about Lucas. His passive makes it so that when he ults, he's on a timer. While in his ult form, he'll consume 10 resolves per second. This makes it so that if he actually wants to become a real threat, he'll have to wait until he's max resolve. Now imagine if his ult was like Leomard's ult, where you could just ult at any point once you have your skill. Now it's his infamous second skill. Now Lucas can basically dash at an enemy and briefly stun them. But the thing is, it's kind of misleading because briefly is his entire second skill. So tell me how that is brief. And when he damages the enemy, he recovers HP equal to 8% of his max HP. And the skill cannot be interrupted, meaning it has CC immune. And low-key, this isn't even what makes him the most annoying. When he ults, all his attributes get increased. Excuse me? Okay, I understand wanting to make a hero like really unique and very interesting. What Muntin doesn't understand is that heroes like this are only good for people who are non-competitive. For very competitive players, heroes like this are just really annoying because not only are they innately very strong, but their skills are just busted and kind of hard to deal with. Because why does Lucas have a really long stun or stuns you for his entire second skill duration, while also being immune to CC? Like Moontoon, pick and choose. He's either immune to CC or he has that stun. Having both of them is very, very unnecessary. I guarantee you, if they were to remove one of them, he would still be broken. Because if you're gonna make a hero have a lot of mechanics, they should have a few drawbacks, either by increasing their cooldowns or just nerfing their damage. Now, the only reason why I'm bringing this up is because Selina's actually getting nerfed before any of the big four. But in addition to this, I don't understand how old heroes are supposed to compete with heroes like Lucas. Older heroes are designed to be more simpler. And if you're in higher ranks and you're playing a simple hero, the skill ceiling increases. I would say Layla's even harder to play in high rank than Lucas, because she just has little to no means to defend herself. If Lucas makes a mistake, he can probably recover, because he's well-rounded. On the other hand, for Layla, it's kind of hard. She has very little resources. Now, returning to the Selena nerf, I agree that she should get nerfed. But are you gonna tell me that Selena is more broken than Lucas? Or maybe even Kalia? The main issue that I have with Kalia is the fact that, again, she's very well-rounded. She does not cater to a certain niche. She offers a lot of benefits, all for the price of just one hero. What I mean by this is that she's a healer and she can also chain CCU. Now, obviously, this would not be a problem because Minotaur can also chain CC and heal. But I feel like his heals are not as strong and cannot be procced as often. And there's also the issue of her being a fighter support. Now, if I'm not mistaken, fighters are supposed to be heroes who can sustain. There is a very noticeable difference from sustain and tanking damage. Obviously, this would not be a problem if Kalia was considered a tank or partially a tank. But it kind of is, because why is she a fighter support and she can tank, heal, and chain CC? It doesn't make sense. Now again, the main issue that I'm having with these kinds of heroes is they cater to many things at once, and they don't focus on a very specific category. And heroes who have a very high skill ceiling will struggle against heroes like this. Because if you mess up with Selena or Kagura, it's going to be very hard to recover. What I'm saying here is not an opinion. Kalia and Lucas are objectively broken. I'm not including Suyu because they just nerfed him and he's actually manageable. But Suyu still also has a very similar issue. He just caters to many things at once. He has many skills, sustain, and had means of tanking damage until they nerfed his magic defense while he's in his, god form or whatever. Now, I'm saying that Suyu just got nerfed, and the keyword is just, because do you guys know when Suyu was released? September 21st, and they finally decided to nerf him. It's been like 7 months. Now we can imagine how long it's gonna take for Lucas to be nerfed. And I honestly don't like how they're making heroes that just fit certain collabs. Because I'm pretty sure it's very obvious that Suyu, Kalia, Lucas were all created just for this Naruto collab. And I feel like if they're just gonna create heroes who are eventually gonna get a collab skin, then that is gonna cause a lot of issues. And it's also very evident in the Jujutsu Kaisen. For example, take Xavier and Julian. They literally fit their collab skins to a T. But honestly, it's not that much of an issue because Julian is not as broken and Xavier is just a well-rounded mage. He's a very honest character. Now what I'm trying to say here is that they're nerfing the wrong heroes. Now I know some of you might be saying, you're just talking about this because Selena got nerfed, and I won't deny that. However, but if certain heroes are getting nerfed before others, which are objectively very broken, then I imagine that it's going to be an issue with future heroes. Selena was undoubtedly broken and she held her own in the recent meta. But the thing is, Selena has been out way longer than any of these new broken heroes. So there is a way to counter Selena because she's been in the game for a while, unlike Lucas, Suyu, or Kalia. And I know that Moonton doesn't have like a, survey where you can like suggest ideas, I'm pretty sure, and maybe ask about if a certain hero is gonna get nerfed or buffed. Because I'm pretty sure other games have like surveys where they confirm whether heroes are gonna get buffs or nerfs before getting into like the advanced server or whatever. In conclusion, it isn't really how much skills these heroes have, but it's their attributes and their scalings. You can make a hero be very complex in terms of skills, but you'd have to make sure that their attributes or damage scalings are actually balanced, because that will be a problem. But as long as Moonton knows which clan we joined, or how we would handle these unpredictable situations, instead of asking us about the meta and how we feel about these heroes. But anyway, the meta can be interpreted really differently depending on the player. What some may find hard to deal with or just broken, others may not. But what I'm saying about Lucas and Kalia are objectively true. Suyu not so much because again they just nerfed him, but they should have nerfed him a long time ago. Anyway, this video was all just, conjecture and just mostly my opinion. So I hope you guys don't take it too seriously. And I'm sorry if there are any Kalia or Lucas mains, or maybe even Suyu, but I kind of had to just say what I thought. And if you don't agree, that's totally understandable because they're your mains. But anyway, I'd love to know what you guys think about this. Maybe I'm just overreacting about Lucas being totally broken. Or maybe even Kalia just catering to many things at once. After all, this is just a game and games are supposed to be enjoyed. Probably until you see a Lucas on the enemy side. But we don't talk about that. Anyway, if you made it this far, I'd like to say thank you so much for watching. And I will see you all next time. Ciao!